Hello, hello. Welcome in, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Hey, Matt. How are you? Who's here? Oh, Hope. How's everyone doing? I see Paulson. Hello. Welcome in. Hi. We're doing ACEs tonight with early childhood. Lauren. Oh, would you stop? Matt. Early childhood trauma with Josh and John. They'll be joining us shortly. I got so many messages. If everyone could tap the screen and share the live, I would appreciate it. Welcome in. How are you, Hope? Yeah, today's Thursday. We've been doing Josh and John on Thursdays. We had to switch it to Friday. Now tonight we're back to Thursday because tomorrow night we're doing Brian. Brian's cases tomorrow night. We'll be doing Brian's tomorrow night. So if everyone could share it out, tap the screen, I would appreciate it. So tonight we will be doing, Keith will not be with us tonight because he's joining us tomorrow night. Keith has something to do for the dog program, so he's handling that tonight, which is fine. So Josh and John will be joining us. They're great together. They're good. It's so good to see you, Hope. Hi, Nicole. Oh, we have our first caller. I forget which one this is.
Josh Burcham. An incarcerated individual at the R.J. Donovan Correctional Facility, San Diego, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, say or dial. Thank you for using Global Tel Link. Hi, Marge.
Hi, Josh. How are you?
I'm good.
That's good.
How are you?
I'm doing great. And again, so now that I have you on the phone, happy birthday again.
Oh, thank you. I am now, after the age of 50, I'm counting them all backwards, so I'm only 49.
Oh, okay. Oh, well.
Yeah, we're just going to go backwards.
You're going to go backwards. I agree with that.
And see if I can get back down to like 10,
Oh, you're funny. It was funny because I was getting messages yesterday. It's Josh's birthday. I'm like, oh, please, these are all late. I already was in touch with Josh. It's like, do people think I don't know? I'm like, I reached Josh this morning. These are all late. Do you know it's Josh's birthday? Yeah.
Yes, we started training on Tuesday for the new peer support specialist positions John and I have.
Oh.
So we're gone from 7:30 till 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Wow.
So I came home yesterday and got on the phone and talked to my daddy and my friends. And then I'm not going to lie, I was in bed by 8:30. I pulled a John and I was out.
Yeah.
We just sit there for a long time. So, yeah, that's it. So thank you again. I appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome.
It was kind of a busy day, but nonetheless,
So how's the new program? How's it going, the new program?
Well, as I said, we're just in the beginning. This is the third day, so it's we're into orientation. We're going to start getting into there's 17 core competencies to what a peer support is. So we're kind of going over.
This call and/or telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
The basic functionality of prison, right? How to write grievances, how to use the 7362 process, which is the sick call slip, how to help others, because that's what it is peer support. So just getting familiar with all. CDC has an acronym for everything, and one acronym in one discipline means one thing and means another one and another one. So it's a lot to understand the functionality of what it is, and just so we can help individuals navigate prison when they first come into it, but also if they need to do something, later on down the road to figure out what healthcare, because it really comes down to the healthcare of what we're trying to make sure, that the whole patient is taken care of, not just the basic healthcare needs. Mental health is such a huge aspect of prison, trying to make sure that everybody's mentally safe,
Right.
So,
what's up, Joshua?
Hey, Josh, excuse me. I have somebody up here with me.
Okay.
You want to say
What's up, Joshua?
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. It's Tommy.
Hey, Tommy, what's up, buddy?
You didn't recognize me at first.
How you doing, Tommy?
Karen?
I'm good, dog. I'm just over here getting moved.
You're a little low, Tommy. I don't think he could hear you. It's hard to hear you right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here you go.
I'm driving.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you driving back from work or going to work?
Coming
Hello.
back from work,
You put
but
you on
also
speaker
moving
yet?
some stuff.
Because we're having a conversation.
Driving back.
One second. Oh, okay. You don't want to get it been. You want to maybe put on your green screen. You're looking good only because TikTok's been on one. Let me put you.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah, because they don't. You're not allowed to be in your car while you're on TikTok.
Yeah, you're not allowed to be driving while you're doing it live.
Exactly. That's why Lauren has walking his goldfish. That's the term they use.
Yeah, walking his goldfish. Yeah, that's
Yeah. And you know what? They've been restricting us for silly thick Tommy. I get restricted for showing my makeup, for showing any little thing like putting a name brand of another company on here. I've been getting restrictions left and right. Hey, Lacey. It's been just the past couple weeks.
Man, that is insane.
And I promote for makeup companies. So how am I supposed to do my job?
Yeah, exactly.
I showed a makeup palette while I do my makeup live and said, this is from the company, and I got a violation.
So, okay, what is a violation? What do they do?
They don't push you out to the For You page, and it don't bring a lot of views in, but most of my people know where I am. So do I sweat it? No. Do I have an agent? Yes. I could have complained, but I don't sweat it. I don't go crazy about the views and stuff like that. I could have got my agent to fight it. I let it go. People knew I was here, so they don't push your page out to like the For You page. And then my daughter wasn't feeling good. Yes, my daughter wasn't feeling good. So I went to show her, I said, you need to get this stuff. And it was on Amazon. I hate to say that because they don't like that word. And I went to show her the medication. I went, so you need to buy this. And I flipped it's just normal everyday life. And I forget. I went, you need to buy this. And I showed her yesterday. I got a violation yesterday too.
Oh man, that's crazy.
It's like, oh my lord, like what am I supposed to
I'd be,
so do I
I'd be
sit on my
screwed.
hands? Do I sit on my hands? Like what do I do?
Yeah.
And
You
it's
say
only since
Amazon.
they sold this top, like since the new TikTok, it's only since it's supposed to be only 2 weeks now. That's all. We didn't have this trouble before, Tommy.
Yeah, it is one of those things, you know.
Yeah,
It's like you're living in prison.
I know. And it's easier on the other app. On the other app we go over to.
Yeah,
You can
yeah,
you can be an adult. You can talk normal. You know what you're doing right now. You can do that over there. Over here,
yeah.
you're limited.
I'm violating all kinds of ways. I'm
You
smoking
are
cigars.
tonight. You
I'm
are. You're living on the edge.
violating.
And John is here with us. He's on the line. John's on the line also now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi. Hey, John. Hello. Let's see. Can I hear you? Hey there. Can I hear you tonight, or are you going to be underwater? What's that? Can you hear me? I can barely hear you. Am I underwater? Is that Josh yelling at me?
Yeah, it's Josh yelling at you. Let me move this phone closer. Can you hear each other?
I can hear him.
I moved the phone closer. You want to try now?
You're how about now, Josh? Yes, sir. I can hear you now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're breaking up a little, but I'm sure it'll work just fine. Yeah. We'll get through this. It's better than it was last week. I was only getting every other word, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, I'm probably on that end today.
Right.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, when we get ready to start, John, let's call back at the same time so we can be in unison. Because I called a little early tonight because I was late the last 2 times, so I thought I'd be early.
Yeah. Right.
Well, it's about time. You ready to get started?
So yeah, we might as well get started. So everyone, we're gonna continue. We're gonna be speaking with Josh, and we have John with us, and we were gonna have them hang up and call back, so we won't have the phone calls at different times. So we're gonna do that, and we'll get started.
Okay.
Sound good?
Okay. And I'm gonna. Yes. That sounds good. We'll call back right now.
Okay. All right. Bye.
All right.
All right. Remind me who John is.
What's that?
Remind me who John is.
John is he's incarcerated along in Donovan with it's John Marvin.
Oh, he's one of the death row guys.
No, oh no, he's not. He's I only know him through Josh. His name is John.
Okay, I might not know him.
Jonathan Marvin. I don't know if you know. So you don't know him?
I don't.
Oh, okay.
Not off the top of my head, I don't.
Okay. Yeah, he's in Donovan. I don't have his whole background story, but he's not a death row. He does do a lot of programs with Josh, teaching programs. But he's not one of the death row, not at all.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I know a couple people from the death row program were,
Right. Yeah, no, that was Carell and that was Carell Ramon.
Okay.
Yeah, but not John. Jonathan Marvin.
You will not be charged for this call. You have a call from save or dial 5 now. An incarcerated individual at the Burcham Donovan Correctional Facility, San Diego.
Hello.
And your telephone number will be
So good to have you back, John.
have a prepaid call. You will not be charged. Thank you for using link.
Yes, we always good to hear from you. There we go. We got you both back.
Yes. If I'm still listening, before we get started, I want to let you know I think all time also got chosen as a peer support specialist. There was only 4 of us chosen off the yard out of about 40 applicants. And I don't know if you guys remember, we were telling that story about Paul with Keith and Tommy, how they were instrumental in his change. Well, this is where how far he's come, is he is now training with us to be a peer support specialist. And this was a man who, had his middle finger up to CDCR and was, against everything, and the shift that he has made. And it just shows the journey he's on and where he's at in it. So again, that comes from Tommy and Keith, pushing this man in the right direction in a positive way. And now he is actually training to be a peer support specialist. So it's a huge accomplishment.
Yes, absolutely.
So, yes, thank you, Tommy. You're instrumental in a lot of our lives. Still here today.
You're welcome. I appreciate it.
So.
He said you're welcome. I know you're a little low, Tommy, and I know it's not your fault, but I don't think they can hear you because you are coming across low.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if you heard them.
Yeah. So, yes.
Okay.
As you leave your mark inevitably on the lives of those you touch.
Absolutely. And Tommy, real quick, because I know they're going to get started. I just was talking about you. You must have heard me. I was talking about you on Favorite. I said I miss you so much being on with us, over there a lot. And I know you're busy, but I do miss that.
I was working. I quit 2 of my jobs.
Only 2?
So yeah, 2 out of the 3. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But now that I'm moving and stuff like that, I couldn't do 2 of the jobs from where I'm going to be living.
Oh, okay.
And but it's better. It's a better situation. And
that's good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to let John take over.
Tommy, thank you for being here. I'm excited to have you here tonight. It's part 3. We were started with, what did we start with? We went through trauma-informed care, talking about dysfunction. We started with ACEs, and it has been this ongoing conversation that has been touching on some touchy subjects, but getting to the bottom of some of the core issues in our life here in prison that affects a lot of us. Last week we were trying to get into the positive side of, healthy relationships. But as you know, Tommy, getting to a healthy relationship for us, some of us, navigating what our past has been actually an awesome experience these past 2 weeks of getting to, give our lived experiences and our point of view on this. So I'm really excited for tonight, and I'm happy that the response back to Marge has been, warm and welcoming, but also educational and understanding that, this isn't unique to us, and sometimes we feel that way. We feel like we're alone on an island by ourselves because these things have happened to us, or we respond to things in a certain way. But when we start to do the work, we find that we are a lot alike in so many different ways, and it brings us closer together to know that we're not alone in this world. We talked about our adverse childhood experiences, attachment styles, personality traits. What is trauma? We define trauma, and also how
call and/or telephone will be monitored and recorded.
What is trauma-informed care? Last week we left off with kind of in the middle of understanding what dysfunction looks like, not only in our families growing up, but also in our relationships and what they are. So if we'll kind of recap a little bit to kind of catch up to right where we're at, and then get into some things about love languages and how that affects our lives, and how it's important to understand those, not only ours, but other people's in our life, not just our, in our romantic relationships, but as far as our family, our friends, our siblings, and it's just how it creates a healthier environment.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
So without further ado, we'll just jump right into kind of recapping what a healthy relationship isn't. Relationships that aren't healthy have that the basic. It's based on power and control. It's not on equality and respect. So we have to understand what that looks like, because when we start to think about an abusive relationship, we're always thinking about physical. There's so much more to what an abusive relationship is, and that we'll get into that later. That's a whole nother episode of trying to understand the physical aspect of domestic violence. And it comes in many different shapes and sizes. And when we think that these unhealthy behaviors, we can just push them under the rug, it's not a big deal, it turns into bigger problems down the road. So remember, power and control isn't a healthy thing in a relationship. And abuse is always a choice, and we deserve better, to be treated better, and not only be treated better, but treat others better in our life, because there's no excuse for abuse of any kind. So a couple key points that we went over last time, and as we move forward, just remember some of these, is like, understand that when we're talking about change, we're talking about change for us. We can only lead by example. We can't force other people to change. Even if we want somebody to change, no matter how hard we try, and when we try to force somebody to change, they just push back, and it doesn't go well. Also, we need to focus on our own needs when we're talking about a healthy relationship. Are we taking care of ourselves? Our wellness is very important, not only our physical wellness, but our mental health is super important. It's important to take time with our friends. And as I do more research, John and I are constantly trying to update the material that we do teach and we facilitate class. And what I'm finding is sleep is very, very, very important. And I know why John goes to sleep early and gets up and refreshed and makes sure he gets his sleep in, because it's so crucial to having a sharp mind, but also that's when our body rejuvenates. We got to connect with support systems. Our support system is super important. Often in dysfunctional relationships, we want to isolate, or our partner's trying to isolate us from our support system to keep that negativity and that power control going on. So remember that when we're self-isolating or withdrawing from those activities that we normally do, those are signs of dysfunction as well. And I go back to the same thing. Even though we can't change our partner, we can make changes in our own life to keep ourselves safe, and hopefully in the hopes that those around us see that and mimic what we got going on. John, you got anything you want to add to that?
I think you connected on it pretty well. I mean, really, especially considering that with most unhealthy relationships, there's that power and control issue. And so if it's not a 50-50 partnership, then chances are the relationship is unhealthy. And all those things, like those little, those little things that come with, I know that we're probably, down the road in a little while, we're probably going to talk a lot more about domestic violence. But, those things like, possessiveness and insults and even like gaslighting and those are abusive behaviors. And at their root, there's always lies that power and control. And I think that I really like that you added about, connecting, when there's a power dynamic going on and one partner or the other has maybe a monopoly on the power and the authority, they tend to isolate other people. And I think that if I'd encourage anybody especially anybody that's listening, right now, that, if you have any questions about that, if you have somebody in your life that's trying to isolate you from, friends, relatives, your support system, then you're probably in a bad situation, and changes are necessary. Which I think was that your segue into talking about making some positive changes so we could get into healthy relationship stuff? Josh?
Yes. And we left off last week kind of talking about the dysfunction. I'm good with just jumping right into healthy relationships, unless you wanted to go over. You're really good at having that discussion on the dysfunction.
Well, thanks.
It's not.
Thanks for the encouragement. How about this then? Let me just so that we're on a level playing field when we actually talk about healthy relationships. If you feel like we're in a unique position, especially where we're coming from, because our relationships we can't escape our relationships. They are in our face. So if we have some dysfunctionality, which, there's no relationships that are perfect, we have to kind of decide early on, or at least some point, to make some changes. When it comes to making changes, a lot of times, and this is kind of that space in between maybe dysfunctional or poor relationships and actually having functional relationships. We usually, we tend to stay in our roles because we're waiting for someone else to give us permission to change. But I want to encourage anybody that's desiring to make a change, no matter what it is. Right now we're talking about relationships, but really it can apply to any kind of, positive change in your life.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
To give yourself permission, because that permission to change can only come from you. But the problem is that a lot of people in dysfunctional relationships actually feel threatened by those changes, and so they kind of,
this call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. Stop
those efforts and kind of thwart the efforts to actually change, and might actually try to encourage somebody to change back. So that's why it's really so critical for us to kind of trust our own perceptions and our own feelings when that change comes, because change really does begin with you. It begins with me. It begins with us. But there's some specific things that you can do to actually foster and create this environment of change. And by all means, if anybody has any questions or anything, let Marge know, because this is a great time. We're talking about change, so it's don't sit back. You want to talk about change? We can talk about it, and really.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Look like. So I'm thinking that because we've got a minute left, we'll hang up.
60
we'll
seconds
back,
remaining.
and we'll go over a couple really great points on some specific things, like just some cool little markers that will help make these changes and transitions a little bit more healthier. Josh, you ready to call back?
Yep. Yes, sir.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's do that.
All right.
All right. We're gonna do that right now.
Okay. All right, they'll call right back. So if anyone has any questions, if anybody wants to join us up in the box, you're welcome. With these kind of lives, they welcome you to come up here and interact. It's fine. And Josh and John are great. Right, Tommy? And everyone knows Tommy.
Hey, yeah, they're good. They're gonna lose me here in about 9%.
Oh.
I didn't bring my battery charger.
Oh, no.
I don't have a place to plug it in. I'm driving an old truck. It doesn't have anywhere to plug it in. But I have a little like power bank thing, but I don't think I brought it. I can't find it. I was looking for it while they were talking, but I can't find it in here. I probably left it at the house. But I'm probably gonna lose you guys here in a couple minutes.
Oh, no.
But that's all right. It was good to be on here and say hi to everybody.
I know.
My Thursdays are gonna pretty much open up.
Okay.
So
And
I should be able to be back on here pretty regular.
all right. And tomorrow we have a really good live too with we're doing a live tomorrow night with Keith, and we have a guy from the Navy that's joining us who's incarcerated at Donovan. No, not Donovan.
Okay.
He's in Soledad. Sorry.
Oh, you're talking about Don?
No, Brian is his name.
Okay. All right. Well, let me know. I'll be back. Remind me. Send me a message tomorrow. I'll be on.
Yeah,
All right.
that's gonna
All right,
be
Marge.
good.
I miss you guys. I'll be back tomorrow.
We miss you. I have Josh
All right, thank you.
All right, Tommy.
Yeah, he's
All right, brother. Call
I love
me
you.
tomorrow.
Safe, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, yeah. Call me tomorrow or after 8 tonight.
You hear him, Josh?
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
He said call back. He said call back after 8, right?
Call him tomorrow or call him after 8 tonight.
This is Global
Okay.
Calling.
Because his phone was dying. He just his phone was dying. He didn't have his charger.
Incarcerated individual at the RJ Donovan
Okay.
Correctional Facility,
Yeah.
San Diego, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call.
Yeah, the truck he has doesn't have a place to charge it, he said, and he couldn't find his other charger.
Free world problems, you know?
Right? Exactly. Yep. Okay. So John's back with us.
Yeah.
Okay, John.
So,
Well,
hey,
so you want to go ahead and make the pivot right now
All right.
into a golden standard of what healthy relationships are?
yeah, sure. Do you wanna take the mic from this point, or
It's up to you, man.
well,
Like,
okay.
if you
Then-
want,
I'm
we're done with
Josh.
the dysfunction. You're breaking it up a little bit. I can't hear you.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
All right. Maybe let me make this a little better. All right. Now, all our doors just opened up, so.
Yeah,
okay.
it got a little
Can you hear me all
loud.
right?
Yeah, I
All
can hear you.
Fantastic. Well, then let me set up a little segue into talking about some of the healthier stuff, right? So, like, as we make changes, just keep in mind, especially as we kind of, as we're kind of outlining or, giving an outline to what healthy relationships are, just realize that, like, we don't have to try and be perfect, and we don't have to expect perfection from everybody. We all have some level of dysfunctionality. And then also that we're barely in control of most of our own lives, and so we shouldn't be trying to control other people's lives. And we never have the power to make someone else's change, but we can change ourselves, and hopefully through our own healthy patterns, we can kind of set other people up to adopt those patterns. So like Josh said earlier, it should start with our own self-care and focusing on the things that we need to do to be better people. And let the past lie in the past. Don't bring up any of the old stuff. Focus on the things that we can do right now. And also, boundaries are a big thing too. So set clear limits on what your relational boundaries are like, whether it's friendship, whether it's, an intimate partner, a spouse, even brothers and sisters. So, And then in also setting those boundaries, we want to be able to identify what we actually like to have happen. Because when we stop behaving the way that we used to and actually start to change and make decisions to be better people and to act better, it's really important, I think, for us to kind of recognize that there might be some adverse reactions from others around us and kind of anticipate what those reactions will be, and then just kind of make a decision on how we can or how you'll respond to that. So just want to really encourage change, because it sure is important. So think about patterns of dysfunctionality that you've seen in your own family or maybe in your relationships, and this is kind of like the last comparison before we jump into healthy stuff. And so if you see some of these kind of things in your relationships, just kind of make a mental note of these might be some of those areas that you want to change. Actually, these should be those areas that you want to change, especially like if, maybe you have addictions or compulsions. We're talking like drugs or alcohol, or, even like internet porn and things like that. Obviously for us, for Josh and I being in prison, we don't have the internet. So a lot of these compulsive things are taken away, but even gambling or overworking, overeating, those things really have strong influences on families. Another thing is if you have...
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
If there's a threat of physical violence or any kind of violence as a means to control, these are warning signs. These are those types of dysfunctional relationships that you really want to avoid and change. Or maybe, you've had parents or family members or siblings even that try to treat children or spouses or loved ones as possessions. And if those are, if that's going on, that's a sign that, there's some dysfunctionality there. Also, if you have any caregivers or anybody that's in the home that's supposed to be a provider, if they threaten to withdraw or hold back any of the financial or basic physical care for anybody in the household, or even just fail to provide with your emotion support, that's also a sign of dysfunctionality. And then finally, if you or your loved ones exert some strong kind of or authoritarian control, these even if it's something like super religious or political or financial or even personal, these are signs that there's something should change. We need to meet each other with some grace, and this is some really important reasons why we should make decisions to change. And then one type of decision, you can kind of start to look for what it is that is actually, the healthy relationship stuff. So that's kind of the meat and potatoes. So that gives us a good contrast to talk about healthy relationships. So, Josh, you want to talk about what healthy relationships? Maybe identifying what some of those look like and recognizing all that stuff.
Absolutely. Perfect. I love the way you explain that stuff. When we start to look at the dysfunction and recognize what it is, when we look about cause and effect, right, how things happen, but also, for every negative thing, there's a positive thing, and vice versa. So thank you, John, for that. It's great explanation of the way we look at some of the changes in how we can see, not only in our own actions, but others. So when we're talking about healthy relationships, we want to identify the good parts of that too, because we have a better understanding of what that unhealthy relationship is. So then we're going to go over and talk about other things too, like as we know that relationships are a lot of work. So you can't cut it up any different way. It does take a 50-50 partnership, and it's not always 50-50, right? Healthy relationship means that you may be putting in 90% of the work at this moment for whatever reason. So as we start to look at the positive things, you know, couple questions of like the way I see it. So to get a gauge of where we're at, just real quick, you know, how would it, if you were to ask yourself, how would you describe a healthy relationship? You know, what does that look like to you? And what do you expect some of your greatest challenges or rewards you will face in a relationship moving forward, understanding that now we know what a unhealthy relationship is, you know? Because we have this thing now in prison, well, not now, it's probably been around since the beginning of time, where a lot of this stuff is a SMART goal, right? We set small, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-based goals, and so we can achieve them. And when we think about our relationships too, we just can't go from dysfunction to perfect relationships, you know? So when you look at that, ask those two questions, you know, because as Marge, I'm sure a person married for the great amount of time you have, you can understand the work that goes in to having a healthy relationship and being able to give and take, you know, with that friendship, what that looks like. And, you know, so real quick, what are some things that you would describe, how would you describe a healthy relationship, Marge?
Oh, healthy relationships, absolutely. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of understanding. Communication's a key role. Communication is so important. Give and take. I mean, you absolutely have to have so much understanding. It takes a lot of work. It does. I mean, I'm married 48 years. It's a lot. And it is, like Lauren says, communication is key. I mean, and we always made a promise that we would never go to bed mad. We would never go to bed mad because we just didn't, God forbid, something ever happened. No matter what happened, we never went to bed mad. We made that promise from day one because we just didn't want anything to happen, and we will regret that. Sometimes were we upset? Absolutely. But we never went to bed mad. But it does, like, we try to talk things out all the time. And yes, patience, understanding, and especially now, like in the years now, because we're still young, but my husband has dementia. And it's hard. It's hard, and you understand that what I'm talking about, Josh. It's rough on me, and I have a lot of support around me with my friends here online. My daughter, my son-in-law, but like for me to, because it's rough. He'll like now he's at the point where he thinks he knows what he's doing, and he'll argue with me now, and he'll, for the first time, it's like getting harder. I was like, I look back now and I'm like, wow, that was the easy part. This is hard. This is hard.
Right.
And it's like,
and this is now when we.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
We went through the trying time and people don't believe this. It's so, you're going to be shocked. But when we lost our son, it was like, people go through a hard time when you lose your child. And, thank God he picked up all the pieces and took off with that. But, and he handled things for me because I was a total wreck. Again, it was communication, understanding, we went through a lot with that.
Foundation. That's the foundation.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we'll discuss that at length, because you're absolutely right. I love what you said.
Yeah, and he's and to be honest with you, he's my best friend. He always was my best friend. We were friends first, and he's my best friend, and I could always depend on him. If I could always depend on, no matter what, he made sure things were okay. Always made sure things were okay.
Right there, a really healthy relationship.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, that's it. I knew John was going to chime in because when we talk about health,
You have 60 seconds remaining.
the foundation is trust, honesty, respect, understanding, compassion, but being best friends first. And when people think about that, it's I asked my cousin of 32 years, and that was his exact answer. And he looked at me, kind of rubbed his chin for a minute, and he looked at me, and she said, "She's my best friend. Before she's my wife, before she's my lover, before she's anything, she is my best friend." And it is. That's so beautiful that you understand all that and been able to make it 48 years. I mean, that is just a testament to your marriage. Let's call back, John.
I'll call back. Yes. Okay.
This call and your telephone.
I was looking at the phones, and it's like I thought they called right back, but they were a little off there. Oh, thank you, Lauren. And I'm telling you, when I say my family and friends, Lauren has been such a help. So many times I'm like, I pick up the phone, Lauren, is this normal? Is that normal? Like last night, he didn't sleep at all. Like he kept waking me up. Like he was having the night thing and night and days mixed up. And here goes Vince's cheerleader over here, Katie. Like last night, he was getting things mixed up a lot. He forgets. Oops.
Call from
I forgot.
Josh Burcham.
I was leaving him
an
without
incarcerated
it.
individual at the RJ
See, this is
Donovan
where it
Correctional
gets. Now I got to see how long it's going to take, John.
This
Tell
call
Vinny.
and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You
Wait,
have a prepaid
it
call.
is?
You will not be charged for
Oh
this
my
call.
God,
To
really,
accept this
MargeC?
call, say or dial 5 now. Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
because
Global Tel Link.
Katie, hello. Oh, there you go. One second, we got John now.
The RJ Donovan Correctional Facility, San Diego, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a
Here we
prepaid
go.
call. You will not be charged for this call.
And
To
I was-
accept this call, say or dial 5 now. Thank you for using Global Tel
And
Link.
Josh, I was saying, like when I say, and I'm so fortunate that I'm in the predicament I am, that I moved in. I have the in-law suite with my daughter. I have the support, but you won't believe the friendships and community I built over here on TikTok. There's so many times with, my husband's with the dementia. And, I have to say, like with Lauren and all, I pick up like the phone and Lauren took care, she's in healthcare and she understands this, and how many times I have to I don't know what to do sometimes with him. He gets his days and nights mixed up, and I didn't know what was going on. I didn't have to call the doctor at first. And she was like, Marge, it's called Lauren Sundowners. Is that right? Sundowners? And she's in here in the chat, and she would explain it to me and tell me what I had to do. And, she said, and I would be like, and then he he wasn't sleeping right. And I'm like, he didn't sleep all night, but he's sleeping now. Maybe I should wake him up. And she, don't wake him up. Don't wake him up to eat. Let him sleep and just give him a protein drink. And I totally forgot I had them. And she knew, you got protein drinks in your refrigerator, and we don't live nowhere near each other. But she knows me so well. And she's like, let him sleep. When he gets up, give him a protein drink. He's going to be fine. She's helped me. Lauren has helped me so much. And Katie's always there for me, even though she's my husband's cheerleader. She teases me all the time. But no, they really help me so much. But there's so many times on a Saturday, I'm like, what do I do, Lauren? He'll make sounds. And I didn't know they do this. People with dementia just make sounds. I didn't know this. And she does. Yeah. She helps me so much with, and we met on TikTok. I didn't know people like this. I never knew. I didn't have friends like this, but I could pick them up anytime. I could pick up the phone anytime, day or night, and they're there for me.
And that is so important.
I I don't know if you, like, a lot of the folks that I'm sure are listening don't realize that for Josh and I, because we've been in prison for so long, our foundations for like social media is like MySpace. You know, I mean, it is so old. We don't have access to TikTok and things, so we live vicariously through, you know, your stories. And I think that what you've demonstrated is like really why, you know, you've really kind of described exactly what healthy relationships look like. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're fun sometimes, but for the most part, it really is that sacrifice and, you know, being able to care for others when they're at their most vulnerable, and being cared for when you're at your most vulnerable. Yeah. And I think that, you know, think that that's just such a beautiful illustration of really what that, you know, being a servant of you know, healthy relations means. And to me, that's just such a beautiful concept. And the fact that you found so much support online, right, and from this community, I think is beautiful. Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's just awesome.
Absolutely. And you know what? I love what I do. I love everyone on here. And my daughter said it the other day. She said, Mom, you have the most amazing friends online. Like my daughter, Christy, she loves everybody on here. She has their phone numbers. You know what I mean? Christy does too. She communicates with them, with Lauren and Kate. Yeah, absolutely. And she's like, this is like a family. Like, this is like family. And it really is. And Ray and everyone, they're always, and they check on us like they do. Like, I didn't feel good this past weekend. I had the flu shot and I didn't feel good. I was actually in bed and it really affected me. And everyone texted me or called me and made sure I was okay. And it was just amazing. It really was. And it's just, but with my husband, would I do it again? Absolutely. And I have a quick funny story, and they all know it. So on our anniversary was just September 10th. We celebrated 48 years. So my daughter Christy went and she got us flowers. She got him flowers to give me because she knew he would. I can't keep a credit card on him. He was just ordering stuff from TV. Like he ordered security cameras one day, and we had my son-in-law has security cameras. And I'm like, what are we going to do with them? I don't know. He didn't know why he did it. So she bought flowers. She bought them in. She goes, Dad, it's your anniversary. When Mom comes out, give this to her. And I went out. Of course, he forgot they were there, but then he remembered. And he goes, well, happy anniversary. Here's flowers for you. I went, oh, my God, they're beautiful. I said, where'd you get them? He went, I ordered them. I said, you did? I said, how'd you pay for them? He goes, I have credit cards. I got it with my credit card. I cracked up. I went to myself. I said, after 48 years, he lied to me. He lied to me after 48 years. He lied to me because I had to take his credit cards. I had to take the Amazon app off his phone. He was placing orders. He was joining subscriptions to like everything. Like one day I looked at my credit card. There was $180 in TV subscriptions. Like, yeah. And I had to call the card. They took it off. They understood. But, oh my God, he's just so, sometimes it's funny, but it's not. You know, lucky I could laugh over it, you know?
Yeah.
But it's just it, you know? And he only wants me to take care of him because he was refusing help, you know, but I got this. I got it. I could do this. But we're good. We're good.
Yes. That's he wanted to make sure that you knew that he didn't forget your anniversary.
That's right.
He got those flowers.
Yeah. It was so funny.
He was going down with the ship on that one.
Yeah.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
John?
And Marge, you know it's not a lie if he believes the truth.
I never thought of it that way.
Right?
You know what? You're right.
Yeah. I mean,
You know what? Yeah.
Yeah, and I Yeah.
Oh.
If you're sold on it and it is your truth, then that is the truth.
That's
so
true.
You can say he hasn't lied to you.
That's right. You're right. You're right. Yeah. Is it hard? Because, I fit like every day I have to get up and give him a shower and dress him. Like he can't do that kind of stuff anymore. And he's young. And I laugh. We're the same age. And he says, you wait till you're my age. And I said to him, I am your age. And he goes, but wait, you look so good. You're always dressed to the T. You run around like you're 20. And I'm like, yeah, you should only know. And every day he goes, why are you all dressed? Where are you going today? I'm like, the same place I go every day, my room. But I make sure he's all settled and he's usually resting or sleeping when I do this. Otherwise I couldn't, I couldn't do it, but he's already settled and sleeping but yep, he's funny. Yeah, but I got this. I do. I got this. I think.
And this is a perfect conversation for these healthy relationships, right? It is an understanding, and it is that unconditional love, and knowing that regardless of what happens through the thick and thin, you put your boots on and you just get up every day and you tackle what's necessary in your marriage, not because out of duty, out of love and compassion and understanding. That's the part.
Right.
And when you were speaking about reaching out to the people on TikTok that have become your friends, as John and I both know, because we rely on our support network. After John, when he's not doing the podcast, whichever night we have it on, John goes in after dinner and he makes his phone calls. It's very important, right, to have our support network and stay connected to the individuals in our life that support us in understanding our journey, right, as well as we understand theirs. And to hear that is actually happening in the free world through TikTok, social media, and family and friends, it just gives me hope. And I know John feels the same way about that how important it is. We stress that in here big time, to understand what a healthy support network is, how to reach out for it in a time of need, And that is so awesome to hear that, Marge, that you have that support network that's helped guiding you to deal with a tough situation with dementia.
Right.
Dad, I know what Dad's going through. My dad and his partner for so many years. She's a wonderful person, and when we get on the phone, we just laugh. I talked to her for it's probably almost 30 minutes the other day, and it was great. I mean, it was just an awesome conversation. And, to reach out and be able to allow them to exercise their brain in a different way, and give Dad that support that comes with that, that is just a beautiful story, It almost brings me to tears that you're still there and you do what you do, and also the support for you. So,
absolutely.
And this is why. This is a perfect segue into this next topic, and this is why healthy relationships lead to better lives, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's you just talked about it for the past 15 minutes about why it's important, right? I could say many, many, many different things about that, go on and on, because it's just, today I love the beauty and people's understanding and compassion for others, as we enjoy these close relationships from our spouses, from friends, family, significant others. We try to build these healthy relationships because it gives us self-esteem. It improves our mental, emotional health, to live that fuller life.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
And it's huge. It has a huge impact on our physical health. Is the quality of these personal relationships. We can look at many different studies as John's in depth right now building the core curriculum, and we just keep bouncing these things off of one another and understanding of where this comes from, right? And how it affects our brain negatively and positively, releasing all these good, feel-good hormones, but also these toxic stress hormones. John, my 2-minute thing just popped up. You want to pick this up, or you want to both log out and call back? Because we have to hang. Remember, John, we got to hang up, then log out, or else we won't.
Yeah, well, I think how about if we both log out right now and then call back in, and then we can rock and roll a little bit. That way, we're on the same page.
Okay.
All right, that sounds
Absolutely.
Good. All right.
Okay, we'll be right back.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a commercial break.
Commercial break. All right. Bye. So they have to every hour. So because it's 9:30, they have to reboot their tablets, or it will go completely out on them. I don't know why it does this to them. So they have to reboot their tablet. They'll be right back. So they started at 8:30, 9:30. They get a notice. I can't wait till they get their new tablets. This is crazy, but that's what happens. And I don't think it happens like to Keith's. I'm not sure. I don't know if it's just certain prisons, but yep, it happens. I love the way their conversations just bounce back and forth, back and forth. They're really amazing, these two. It really is. And if anyone has any questions for them, please feel free. You can write it in the chat. You can come up in the box. Just feel free to join us. They welcome anyone up here. It doesn't matter. And Josh's dad, his partner, she has Alzheimer's also. Hey, Dash Mom. Are you okay? Is everything, sending you prayers. I love these two together. I swear, they have such great conversations. They really do. Oh, here we go. Hey, Munchie, how are you? I'm so glad to see you.
This is Global Tel-Link. You have a prepaid call from
Josh Burcham.
Josh is quick. He's fast.
At the RJ Donovan Correctional Facility, San Diego, California.
Thank you for joining. I appreciate you.
Number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now. Thank you for using Global Tel-Link.
And now we're just waiting for John.
Yeah, sometimes it's a pain in the rear to get back in.
Yeah.
And because right now there's a lot of people on the phone, so
this is that's true.
We'll wait for him.
Yeah. You're pretty quick with the phone though, Josh. You're pretty quick.
Oh well, I had to go to the door and get it to get back in.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, here he is.
I hope he doesn't have a. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is Global Tel-Link. You have a prepaid call from an incarcerated individual at the RJ Donovan Correctional Facility, San Diego, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, thank you for using Global Tel-Link.
All right, here we are.
Yes, we are. We're back.
Yes. We both made it through the abyss. We're back.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna pick right back up where we left off. First of all, anybody got any questions or anything that?
I did ask that. I did ask that while you were gone, and so far everyone's just enjoying the conversation and listening. I did tell them they're welcome to come up and interact, but right now they're all just listening and enjoying this.
Okay, cool. Because we're going to get into some healthy communication and what that looks like, and we'll let John take over here in a moment, and then later on we'll get into love languages and how that comes into it. But
this call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
How a healthy relationship really affects our life, right? When we support one another in getting enough exercise, sleep, when we eat right, as it's funny to think that our oral hygiene is very important to our overall health. And this sounds funny, but it's true, right? A lot of long-term health problems come from our hygiene in our mouth, I mean, it comes down to even the basic function of chewing. So we want to make sure all these things are very supportive in our relationships, not only with our family, but in our intimate relationship and our children's, because if it's not supported, it can be undermined. It can undermine what's going on in our relationships, And as people, we want to be in relationships, Anybody see the movie with Tom Hanks, Castaway? It's kind of a funny analogy, but it's reality, right? He's stranded on an island, and there's nothing else there but him and a volleyball. And he calls it Wilson, obviously, because it's a Wilson volleyball, but he names it, he talks to it as if it was a person. Even though this is fictional and funny, when we look at this, it's a very basic human instinct. We want to have relationships. Relationships are important. Our brains are hardwired for them. And we need that closeness in that connection, that human bonding experience to create a healthy lifestyle, And with that said, have you ever wondered why some relationships are more effective than others? Because there's been a lot of studies on relationships, and, we read about this and that, and, what does make a good relationship stick? And it kind of boils down to just a few things. And unfortunately, most of us, I can speak for, the population that I'm with in prison, we're minimally aware of those elements that go into it, and we're not doing anything to improve the relationships. And that's why, for me, why healthy relationships is so important, because I failed miserably my whole life from birth. I didn't have healthy relationships. And some of my healthiest relationships are in prison, with individuals in prison and those that have gotten out from doing time in prison. And one thing I've realized that's really, really important is my mental health. And that's without question. Because in a good relationship, all parties involved, must have good mental health. And if not, we have to support one another to achieve that. And that's where, like in your marriage, Marge, just because there's something going on doesn't mean we bail, right? We don't bail out when it gets tough. We stay in. We seek help from health professionals. We reach out to our support network. Because if we don't, our relationship's going to suffer. And we can't always control the stressors in our life. But for our relationship to be effective, we have to reach out for help and ask for the necessary input to keep our stress to a minimum.
Call and your
as we understand that, sometimes we're going to be going through rough shit, and if someone loses a job or, has a breakup, they may be a little negative for a little while, but most people will pull out of that with the right support behind them, so that's where, when it comes down to that, we got to keep the lines of communication open. And that's what we were talking about just a minute ago. And hey, John, if you would pick this up right here and talk about healthy communication and what that looks like and help me out real quick, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, you bet. I actually, Josh, I think you did a really good job on that. And I couldn't help but think when you were talking about, especially the mental health aspect of it. And in light of what you just shared with us, Marge, as far as like some of the things that you go through, right? You know, that even though times might be tough, because nobody likes to see the decline of somebody that they care about in any relationship. But, you know, even though like there's some negative stuff, it sounds like it sounds like you've carved out this great space, not only for emotional connection with other relationships, but also to kind of keep your own mental stability and, and have that space where things get better. I love that, and I'm really thankful that you shared that with us tonight, because, I mean, looking at it from this angle, and just so you know, Marge, my mom had she had an early form of dementia that started affecting her when she was in her 30s. So my primary caregiver in life went through something really similar. And when I was you were telling us about some like the credit card stuff, I have a direct relationship with that. So I can really empathize with you, and it doesn't mean that and that's a great example, because I mean you've had all of these years of marriage, which is totally enviable and just something that is just so beautiful. And I think that you would probably agree that honest and safe communication has been like a foundational and fundamental part of maintaining that 40-plus year healthy relationship you have with your husband, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and so it's like, really, I think for all of us, the first step to building those kind of relationships is making sure that we, that both of us, whoever we're in relationship with, understand each other's needs and what the expectations are. I mean, obviously you're in a unique situation now because, you have to, after 40-something years, you've been trained to now you have to actually expect the expectations of what your husband needs. But for those of us, especially some of us that, might be entering relationships or, continuing on or looking to build the change or better our relationships, being on the same page is just so crucial, so important. And it means that we actually have to talk to each other, which I know in this digital age, I was watching the news the other day and they were showing a flash of the...
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Everyone's eating in the restaurant, but, they're sitting at the table, you can tell their friends and family and things, and half of the people in the restaurant are looking at their phones. And I was just thinking, wow, relationship actually means you should talk to each other face to face. And there's some real good tips on how you can create and maintain these kind of, healthy communication patterns and, really kind of maintain those healthy relationships. And one of the things that we always, when we run our groups in here where we're actually trying to hone in skills on healthy relationships, you said it at the very beginning, and it is communication. And that involves us really having to speak up, because in healthy relationships, if there's something that's bothering you, it's really good to talk about it instead of holding on. When we were talking about some of the and kind of going through the adverse childhood experiences, and we talked a little bit about holding it in. That builds up this these stress levels that are really detrimental to relationships. So speak up. If something's bothering you, talk about it.
Talk about it. Yeah.
Another one of those. Yeah. Even I mean, even even if it's something like with even if you have somebody that's in somewhat of cognitive decline, like your husband is right now. It's, I know that you guys still communicate, and, some of the stuff might be something that it was mentioned, 100 times the day before and forgot. But in order to maintain those relational connections, it really is important to talk about it, whatever it is, communication. another thing that kind of piggybacks off that is really the respect for one another. You know, we respect our partner's wishes and our and, you know, their feelings, and we actually place value on what they're thinking. And a little white lie about where we got the flowers that we give to, you know, our spouse on, you know, on their anniversary or birthday or something like that, you know, it really lets them know that you're making an effort, you know, because there's that mutual respect there. So I think that mutual respect is really essential in maintaining healthy relationships. But kind of the flip side of that coin is also compromise.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
And, you know, these disagreements are just a part of, you know, natural, healthy relationships. And, you know, it's really important for us to see, not only to accept another person, but to actually seek out ways to find compromise when there are those disagreements. And again, Marge, I mean, you are you're not only are you a wonderful host, but you kind of like laid out this great roadmap for us tonight too, because, you know, when it comes to like finding ways to compromise and to solve, you know, conflicts in a fair and rational way, I know these are certain things that you have to deal with daily. You know, because of having been married for 40 plus years.
Right.
And that's kind of really beautiful that you're able to, you know, kind of deal with those things and then find your safe space, you know, here with friends and family. And I think that's really beautiful. And also, you know, like that comes to the next point, which is really being supportive and being supportive. Being able to offer reassurance and encouragement to the people that we're in a relationship with is so important. And so is letting them know that we need their support. And I think that is just awesome when you come into this kind of space and you're able to say, hey, listen, I need some support. This is something I went through today. You know, or being able to show up at home and say, you know, like my day at work was crummy or my day at work was great. But it's really, you know, being able to develop these healthy relationships, and, you know, building each other up and not putting each other down is important. And then the last one before I hang up with Josh and call back is respecting those boundaries of privacy, right? Just because we're in a relationship doesn't mean that we have to share everything and constantly be together. A little bit of time apart is very, very beautiful, and relationships require some space. So, absolutely. Josh and I are going to call back, right, Josh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. He said yes, sir.
Let's call right back.
Okay. All right. Oh, Katie. Don't pick on my buddy now. Come on. And did you buy him anything now? Let's go. Come on. Hey, Beth, how are you? It's too hot. Oh, my God. Katie. We should put. Oh my God, you too. I can't. You know what? I never thought about this, but probably Vince didn't even realize he was like, we won't say lying, telling a fib. He probably thought he really bought them he really thought he bought the flowers. Now that John's making me think about this stuff. See, I don't need a therapist. I need John. I can't call John. I mean, I could call, John needs to call me more. Free Vince. Oh my God. No.
You have a prepaid card.
MargeC's getting free too. My door's being delivered tomorrow.
An incarcerated individual at The RJ Donovan
My
Correctional
door's coming
Facility,
tomorrow.
San Diego, California. This call
It's not being put in tomorrow, but at least I'm getting a door.
You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call,
Send him a
say
door
or dial
dash
5
again. Oh,
now.
God.
Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Hey,
Okay.
here we are.
You're back, but you don't have Josh yet.
Oh.
I know.
Okay, well, our phones have been acting a little funky today, but at least they're dropping calls and just being weird. But that is just another reason why we don't come to person.
Right? Oh, no. Oh.
That's right.
This is
He's
Global
back.
Tel Link. You have a prepaid call from
Okay.
Josh Burcham.
Here we go.
an incarcerated individual at
Yeah.
the RJ Donovan
We got
Correctional
him.
Facility, San Diego, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now. Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
All right.
Okay.
I was getting scared there for a minute. It wouldn't pick up. Hello, John.
Yeah. I was just telling Mark about how our phones have been acting kind of funky today. So.
Yeah, it just kept hanging up as soon as you pick up, I guess. And I was thinking, uh-oh.
Oh, okay.
But we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good.
Yes. I think so.
So.
I think so. But yeah, I think this is probably in my mind, I think I kind of ticked all the boxes on some of the healthy stuff. But really what it boils down to, as far as like relational goes, is what you had mentioned at the very first, like within the first few minutes of tonight, Marge, and that was communication.
Mm-hmm.
I think that your life is a great example of that, and I think that anybody listening right now, if there's one takeaway tonight, I think it would be that the flip side of maintaining our own like really good mental health is communication, because most conflicts are conflict in general are just negative relationships, and most people are just super poor at dealing with them in a really good communication style. So, active communication is really important, and I think that for building and maintaining our relationships, it probably is like one of the most major parts of that. And we should, Josh and I should collaborate on maybe talking about some active listening communication skills. Those are really good. I don't know, did I miss anything, Josh? You had anything to add to that?
No, I agree with all that. You're right on point. When it comes to communication. And as I said this when I help teach active listening and communication skills, is I suck at it. Even though I know all these moving parts to it, becoming a better listener is becoming a better partner, right? And a friend, and just learning how to communicate is key, right? Mm-hmm. We can, in a later date, we can even go over that. What is active listening? What does that look like? How do we communicate better? When all these things, John, like when we talk about this in class, self-awareness. There's like 30 different moving parts to self-awareness, right? And it all starts with being able to not only actively listen, because once we can hear what's going on, my mom always tell me, you're hearing me, but you're not listening to me, and that's true. I heard what you were saying, but I wasn't listening. And today, when we put that all in together, I like to look at it like a Venn diagram. And when our communication skills go into self-awareness, which creates a better relationship, whether it's a friendship or a romantic relationship. It's how what are you saying to me? You know, and that's where
this call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
And we use that in building bridges of support through that effective communication, right? It keeps being the reoccurring thing tonight is how we get support from our family and friends, right? That part just keeps repeatedly surfacing in good relationships, you know. You may have to reach out for somebody because you need something from the store, but you can't leave, and so they pick something up for you, you know, or picking the kids up from here or there, or need a ride to this or that, and that's that. What's the word that I'm looking for? That's that security in yourself, but also knowing that you have friendships that are solid, and you can reach out for them. And you know, as we learned in prison, and I think John can back this up too, that sometimes it's hard to ask for help, but sometimes I need a helping hand, and I have to ask, hey, you know, I need a hand with this, you know, not physically, emotionally, you know. And sometimes it's just him listening or advice. John knows I'm emotional. Sometimes I still have a character defect where I don't think about what was said. I just only heard what I want to hear, and I'll make a snap response. And he's like, "You're looking at it wrong. You're not looking at it right." You know, and that's what I need. You know, because all relationships require some sort of effort. And at times, it's somebody else stepping out of their comfort zone to help you out, you know. And sometimes that effort is automatic, such as in like John and I, you know. It just happens that we just see it. We can see it. And, you know, most relationships, we need to put a lot of attention and effort into them because in the long run, it pays off for what happens, you know, later on down the road in a healthy relationship. And in that healthy relationship comes healthy boundaries. So when we talk about boundaries, right, boundaries are a good way to keep your relationship healthy and secure. When we talk about the communication, we want to set healthy boundaries together so we can have a deeper understanding of the type of relationship we're in and that your partner wants, right? It goes back to needs and wants. What are your likes and dislikes and things like that? Boundaries aren't meant to make another person feel uncomfortable by no means, you know. Creating boundaries is not a sign of secrecy or distrust. We shouldn't be, especially in emotional and an intimate relationship, we shouldn't be in one where we're not on solid ground, you know. We want to build that trust and that understanding that it's okay for me to ask for this because I'm comfortable with you, and what would you like or not like to happen within this relationship, you know. They shouldn't restrict anybody involved in the relationship's ability to go out with their friends, go out by themselves. I think I said this last week. You know, I look forward to being in that relationship that is built on mutual respect and trust to where, yeah, go to Hawaii for a week with your girlfriend. Have a wonderful time. Mm-hmm. You know, don't worry about me, but because that trust is there. I'm not doing anything. You're not doing anything wrong. I'm not doing anything wrong. So just go enjoy yourself, you know. We can have separate lives that aren't so intertwined that we can't do things, you know, and participate in hobbies that I like that maybe, you know, my partner might not like. Right. This is going to be a tough one. These are new things for me. You know, I hear it all the time in here, where you shouldn't have to share your passwords to emails or social media accounts or phones, because if there's that doubt in your mind about what's going on in your relationship, there's a bigger problem, right? Yeah. And that's where we need to be open and honest with that communication, right? To respect each other's likes and needs, but yet also feel comfortable that I don't need to look at your phone. Don't care what's in your email, right? Because when you know your partner, you know when things are out of sync, right? We need to have those tough conversations. Because it
Right.
goes back to communication. Let's talk about these things, and you're going to be able to read those things in your partner, in your friends. They sometimes our friends and especially our intimate partners know us better than we know ourselves at times, right? When we're doing something wrong, I show it on my face and just in my behavior anyway. So I know I have compassion and I have empathy today. So I can't. It's not that I can't. I guess anything's possible, but I don't want those feelings, right? I don't like that feeling that comes up inside of me when I do things wrong, right? So that drives me to stay in that positive mode of being truthful, open and honest, and communicate.
Yeah.
Because when we talk about was I making sense right there, John? Did I forget anything? Is there anything you'd like to add to that about boundaries?
No, I think you covered it pretty well. I like the that whole idea of the concept of like that you're not walking. You shouldn't be walking on eggshells around somebody, and if you should be comfortable, but at the same time, being able to respect and set those healthy boundaries with other people. And I think that for us in here, it's really, we deal with some weird boundary issues. In not necessarily where we're at now, but where some of these other prisons that we've been at, you can't even walk in certain areas outside on the yard because those are off limits to, even now, there's certain places that we can't go. And those aren't even, and we're talking about just interpersonal, like not even romantic or, friendships. We're talking about just regular boundaries.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
I like the fact, Josh, that when you kind of reflect on like healthy boundaries, not restricting your ability to, do these fun stuff with your friends. And it's not lost on me when somebody like Josh says these things, because we're coming from a position where we have so many restrictions placed on us being here, and yet, we're you're able to point out those things like,
call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
To, go out with your friends or, sharing passwords, stuff like that. So I think you covered that pretty doggone well, my friend.
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you.
And that is so important, like trust and being able to do things and your partner trusting you. It's so important.
Yeah.
Like I always had that. I never had to worry about that, and vice versa. I used to be able to pick up and go out with my girlfriends and go out for the weekend, and I never had to worry about, oh my God, we always had that trust, always.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Because this when we talk about healthy boundaries and communication, right? This goes back to what we were discussing last week when we were talking about attachment styles, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when one has an insecure attachment, and I do, so even today, I have to remember that I have to trust in my partner, because if not, then I shouldn't be in the relationship, and I have that choice. Because when you become codependent, you are always thinking that the other person is going to be doing these things. And just because I believe it in my mind doesn't mean that it's true. But I start to obsess on those things. So, when I do walk out of these gates and go home and have relationships, I always have to keep that in mind. This is why these things are so passionate to me about healthy relationships. What is a love language? What are these attachment styles? Because when we talk about how do we maintain and enhance these relationships, we'll both call back right now, John, and then we'll continue that.
That sounds great. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh my God, Katie. If I was drinking my coffee just then. Crystal, thank you. Katie, what a mess. Who needs therapy when we have these guys, you know? Free therapy. Oh, God. These guys are good. Right? And if anybody wants to come up, you are welcome. You guys could come up, chit chat, whatever you want to do. And if you ever want to reach out to them, you could let me know. I could give you their information. Lauren has no voice. She's losing her voice, poor Lauren. Lauren would have came up. She just can't talk. It's a sin. Everybody's sick. I can't wait for tomorrow night, too. We have such a good live tomorrow night. It's going to be amazing.
This is Global Tel-Link.
This recording has gotten to me.
Josh Burcham.
An incarcerated individual at the RJ Donovan Correctional Facility, San Diego, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now. Thank you for using Global Tel-Link.
All right.
Hello.
John, make it back?
Not yet. We're waiting.
Oh.
I know.
Yes, and while we're waiting for John, I want to ask is, I know this has been done in 3 segments, and it's wonderful, and we could go on when we start talking about like effective communication skills, ties into the healthy relationship, understanding love languages, the attachment style. Is this all making sense? Are we covering it in a way that it's flowing together to understand ultimately what a healthy relationship is, and understanding how those early childhood experiences shape these dysfunctional, distorted thoughts in our mind to get to where we're at today, to have a healthy relationship and understanding that it takes educating ourselves on what that is. I know myself, I didn't have anybody teaching me what a healthy relationship was. You know, I've learned this in prison. So, if this is making, my question is, does it make sense?
For me, absolutely. How does everyone else feel in the chat? If you just want to let me know. Yes, this is great. This is great therapy. Absolutely.
Yes,
See? I'm an eggshell left out in the dark.
You know,
I'm an eggshell walker and left out and in the dark. See? Yes, I love it. I love these comments. See? I just told him, I said, who needs therapy? We have you and John. You're really helping a lot of people. Little do you know that, Josh. You're really helping a lot of people here who don't have anyone to talk to. Any questions, please type it. And Marge welcomed you to join in. Yes, you can absolutely come up and join in. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's interesting because, you know, we're around correctional staff, obviously, 24 hours a day. From 10 to 6 in the morning, obviously, they just do walks. They only walk on the odd hours. But during the day, we interact with COs on a daily basis. And there's always been this misinterpretation from our side, from the incarcerated population, thinking that, you know, correctional officers just live this perfect, you know, life.
You have a prepaid
in our life, you know, they live this perfect life. But the reality is they are just like us. And they suffer from the same problems we do. There's a lot of alcoholism. There's a lot of prescription drug abuse in the COs. And I'm not saying this to talk bad about them. This is reality. And somebody was telling a story about how this correctional officer used to have a negative outlook on the incarcerated population. And then he sat in, he had to work what we call BRP, and he sat in, it's the Department of Rehabilitation Program for CDCR. And he sat in because he picked up some overtime, and he said he was sitting there. And he was like, yeah, these guys are talking about me, not talking about him exactly, but the stories that were being shared inside the incarcerated circle, he could relate to. And he started this change inside of him, and then he started to realize that the dysfunction in his own family. And he had reached out to somebody that, you know, because obviously that's a stigma, right? They don't reach out to us. We don't talk to them about personal crap and da-da-da-da-da. And he's like, man, you guys are doing all this stuff. And it really opened my eyes to the dysfunction in my own family. And I went home and said something to my wife, and my wife was like, well, why don't we get help? And they started getting, he started going to AA and marriage counseling. And when he was in the marriage counseling, he told his story about where he got this, he realized was from in the prison setting. And he had this profound thing. And she says, you know what the beauty of the story you're telling me is that you're here for help. That is wonderful. That's great. And you're getting the help you need. Right. But you can go back into that prison setting and get that therapy for free, because those men are doing that for free. They don't put anything in it, and you come to see me and it costs you money. And it was like, wow, right. It really like set this up to where, you know, we're all, when we do a trauma talk circle and we ask those 10 aces, right? You make this, I think I explained this, you make a big, huge circle, and everybody, for lack of better words, we shed our colors, they shed theirs if they were, and we all stood in line and started asking these things. After you take 10 steps back from the center of the circle, and when you start...
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
And closer, you're asking those 10 aces, we're all kind of the same. So that was a profound story when we talk about opening up and telling our stories and how this is and where we get to where we're at today. Talking about healthy relationships is a huge improvement for me, and I have been able to use these circles, being able to facilitate the groups. Even when I facilitate, I get a little bit smarter. I'll pick something up that I didn't know, and I've been teaching this prior. So we learn and grow on a daily basis when we do these things, and it's just a beautiful thing to be able to, as we say in NA, you know, we can't keep anything that we can't give away. And if I can help somebody that's struggling in a dysfunctional relationship, or just in life in general, to process trauma, to move on past something, you know, that's what we're here for.
So Josh, I do have someone said, I'd like to know what other components he feels is absolutely crucial to a healthy relationship. Someone asked that.
Okay. Great question.
Okay.
John, are you there?
Yeah, he's here. He's back.
Okay. Yeah. I'll answer that, and then I'm going to let John answer that too, because I know he's going to add something very, very profound to that. Because as we talk about what a healthy relationship is, right? We have communication, mutual trust, and respect is the foundation, right? Mm-hmm. We have to have compassion and understanding for the other individual, being able to meet our partners and our friends right where they're at. And sometimes that takes being a bigger person. And that comes with so much into understanding self, right? It's not being selfish about what are my needs at this moment. That is when we open up and we be vulnerable. That's where it's at, is to be, what is it when I am even talking to John, what are your expectations? So why no? And when you need to, it's like saying, getting mad because you didn't put dinner on the table, but I never told you I was hungry. Or why didn't you make dinner? You know, it goes back to that basic level. When we understand each other's needs, that's what it comes down to, is getting it out all on the table. What is this? And that's where the communication comes in. Compassion, understanding, forgiveness when things don't always go right. It's okay. I go back to understanding myself. I needed to know my attachment style. I needed to know my personality traits, my core beliefs about things. And also when I learned about what, and we'll get to that in a minute, Gary Chapman's love languages, 5 love languages, it really opened my eyes to see the other person for who they are. And when you can see that part of what a healthy relationship is understanding what their love language is. And when you can give them their love languages, we need all 5 of them in our life, but there's one that's going to stick out tremendously more than the other, and that makes me feel good. And what we tend to do is project our own love language onto other people, and they don't necessarily like that. So that's where I say self-awareness is super, super important to understanding what a healthy relationship is, and it's the give and take. John, you got anything to add to that?
Were you thinking about getting into that whole concept of the 5 love languages?
Yes, but the question was is what else is added to what else goes into a healthy relationship, right? Since we're talking about that, because we've covered healthy boundaries, what a support network is, communication. I just wanted to see if you wanted to add to that.
I've got I mean some like right off the bat, there's a few tips that come to mind. And of course you said it, Marge said it, I've said it a couple times, and that's communication, right? But as far as for really kind of to maintain or even enhance or build up the relationship, I think that really is the core of it. And then also, because there aren't any perfect relationships, realize that we're not here to fix other people's problems. Just really to be empathetic and listen to people, whoever they might be, especially those people that are close to us, the relationships that are close to us. And don't just wait for those opportunities to say something that's on your mind without listening. But, a lot of us will be waiting around for that opportunity to say something profound or say something, just maybe even angry, just to be a jerk because we're feeling, some sort of way in our relationship. But really just being able to, make suggestions later on if the person wants to hear it, just actually hearing people out. I think also realizing that our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions, which are more of cognitive behavioral therapy, if anybody's hip to that, that those are all separate things. Like your actions on your feelings on your thoughts, those are all separate things. And that because those are separate, we really need to be mindful of the battles that we want to fight. And, before we get into any kind of especially any kind of conflict, ask ourselves, is this really, is this really a battle that I want to fight? And I think that you had mentioned too about the fact that, that unconditional positive regard doesn't, with all kinds of bad, abusive, or destructive behavior, but in the same sense, we need to rely on our communication. And also, forgiveness doesn't mean that we accept other people's behavior or that it's okay. It just means that, that we're not going to let the effects of someone else's behavior hold us back, or, impose upon us in that kind of way. I think one of the most important tips that I've heard for maintaining and kind of building up and even, really strengthening our relationships is to praise in public and then discuss problems in private. Don't air out your laundry with in your relationship in public. We want to praise people and we want to praise our relationships in public. And then the private stuff, keep private. And really kind of sit on it. Don't feel like you have to rush into a conversation about a problem, But I like what Marge said about, don't go to sleep angry. Don't put things that really bother you off, or just ignore them, hoping that they're going to go away. Because when you communicate at a level that the other person can understand, it's all about honesty and not having to shy away from uncomfortable stuff. And, it's whether it's a child or, a husband with dementia. We deal with love. And when we're dealing with people and making that effort to communicate, we really want to be mindful of what our body language is saying. Not only what we're saying with our mouths, but really like what is the image that we're putting forward? Is it comfortable? What kind of message are we saying with just our posture? And then also I think like keeping our expectations realistic. Not expecting other people to do what we say. They're gonna do more like as we do. So if we're sorry about something, it's not about saying I'm sorry about it. It's about doing sorry. What does that look like? And this is all about like being mindful and really thinking things through like carefully before we lash out or respond. Because if we change our mind, it's okay to say so, but we also should be able to explain what our reasonings are behind that. Because
this call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Relationships don't have to be this like you're stuck in a relationship. You can renegotiate the contract, right? Nothing stays the same. They're dynamic. So we don't need to expect it to just remain exactly the way it was. You can discuss the new needs and, if you have goals or feelings or thoughts, things like that. And, don't live in the past or the future. Live in the moment. Like Mark says, every single day is you should treat it as a blessing, as a gift. We have to be present. And I think doubling down on that idea that we can't change somebody else, when people change, it's up to them and it's not up to us. But I think that those are all like really strong ways to establish and maintain healthy relationships.
Yeah. And John, yes, Josh had to call. Josh had to hang up. His 15 minutes. Do you want to hang up and call right back?
Okay. Sure.
Okay.
I'll hang up and call right back.
Okay. Bye. And Elizabeth, I'm gonna, as soon as they call right back together, I'm gonna let them know. Let me pin. Oh, I didn't mean to send that invite. I'm sorry. I hit it by accident. I want to pin that. I was trying to pin something. Pin that comment. I don't want to lose it because the comments are just flying. Ignore that invite unless you want to come up. Let me.
Josh Burcham.
I want to try to get them
An
on the same
incarcerated
time.
individual at the RJ Donovan Correctional Facility, San Diego, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now. Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Hello?
Hello.
Global Tel Link, you have a
John's
prepaid call
calling right
from
now.
Perfect.
Yeah.
an incarcerated individual at the RJ Donovan Correctional Facility, San Diego, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Hello.
So we are both back. So I do have we do have a comment, and it says to tell Josh and John, Elizabeth from Rise really enjoyed hearing from them.
Oh,
I
okay.
have-
Hi, Elizabeth.
I have a picture of John Marvin on my website because he took a picture with my facilitators.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's
Yes.
right.
Okay.
Now.
Elizabeth has a
Yes.
Yeah, Elizabeth has a great guy in here doing some really good work with
Yeah.
A group of other great guys.
Okay.
We have quite a community of
Nice.
quite a rehabilitative community going, particularly where we're at. So I think that is fantastic that Elizabeth is listening in. That's great.
Oh, and thank you for joining us,
Yeah.
Elizabeth. That's amazing. Yep,
Yeah.
she said it. Yes, amazing little
Yeah.
community. That's great. Welcome in. I'm so happy you're here tonight.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah.
That is fantastic. So,
And
So,
John,
yeah,
when you were talking about what you said real quick about communication and not going to bed, man, really quick. One thing I wanted to share, when we agreed on we wouldn't do that, go to bed mad. The morning I lost my son, my last words my son said to me were, he called me at midnight. Good night, Mom. I love you. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Well, guess what? Tomorrow never came. There were my son's last words. What if we were fighting? Just saying. You fight with your kids all the time. Especially they're adults.
Of course.
What if we were fighting? They were my son's last words to me at midnight. And it happened to be my birthday. Let me add that. His last words were, good night, Mom. I love you. Happy birthday. I'll see you in the morning. They were his last words to me. That was it. I never spoke to my son again. That was in 2006. So that's we always.
That breaks my heart.
Yeah, they were his last words to me. And the next day, my husband found him in his house, in my son's house. We had to take him for a second opinion for his headaches, and he already passed away. But yep.
Wow.
Yes.
And that's why they were his.
My heart goes.
That's it. And yep.
My heart goes out to you because I know that you've gone through this, but when you said that you and your husband had agreed like never to go to bed angry, and even reminds me of like going down my mental checklist of the things that enhance our relationships. And it's that idea that like, don't expect the people to do as you say. They're going to do as you do. And you modeled that to your son. And here it is, he calls you at night and, it shares that with you on your birthday. And to me, that really models the strength in this, because loss is inevitable and it's tragic when it happens. But when something like that happens and you have that as a marker for your relationship with them, to me that not only is it beautiful for what you've gone through, but I think that it gives a lot of hope and inspiration.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Like this, but also to the people that are around us. And I think that you model that. And I can't think of anything better as a legacy to leave than having that, being able to pass on something so strong to your family and to people that get to hear that story. So thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. I just appreciate what you are both doing here and being here. It helps us all so much. It really does. It always does. Yeah, and my son used to call. Thank God I had such a good daughter-in-law, because she didn't mind. He was a mama's boy, and he called me almost every night. He did. We worked together. He ran my business, but he called me every night, and she didn't mind because she did too. So, but yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But that. We in prison can relate to that, right? Because, John, we have countless friends in here who have been in for decades, and I don't mean 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and when you lose somebody in prison, it's sad. To watch that happen. And, I have a deal with my family that if somebody passes away, please do not call the prison. I will call within time. We have ways to communicate now, because it's very impersonal. when somebody comes. So we don't always have that capability, you know, when somebody calls and to say those last words. You know, I say I love you to everybody that I talk to because I truly do.
Right.
I truly love the people that I communicate with, that I am in contact with, and we don't know. You know, tomorrow is not promised.
Right.
That is a fact.
Sure.
And I, you know, as you said, you know, what if you were arguing or something like that? I don't have the energy to argue today because I have conflict resolution skills, and I don't want to leave anything that if that happens, I don't want any ill will between us. And it's tough for me to even say, you know, as we get older, our parents are getting older, so, you know, things are coming in down the pipeline of you know, medical ailments and stuff like that. So I totally can feel that. I haven't been through that. When my grandmother passed away in 2014, it was expected. So it was kind of a little bit easier for me. She was like my mom. So, but I had talked to her a lot on the phone. But I can't imagine, like you say, Marge, where it's unexpected. You know, that's you know, that's very, very moving.
Yeah.
When we talk about that, you know, and that's why we try to build healthy relationships, because, you know, we want to see everybody thrive, and we strive to do, and that inner peace at peace. So if God forbid, when everybody is in a healthy place, you know, when stuff like that happens.
Right.
So, you know, as John was saying, you know, just like going off those mental checklists of how things happen and, you know, what it is. And when we look at our relationships, I used to be like a weeping willow, just blew in the wind with, you know, no root system. And I like to look at myself today like a mighty oak. I have, you know, deep roots and can withstand the winds of a nasty storm today because of my openness, and my communication skills are better. By no means are they perfect, but that mutual trust and respect. So my healthy relationships tree has deep roots, you know, because I didn't have healthy relationships, and I didn't have no foundation. I could move from one relationship to the next without processing any of that crap. And I take all that crap from the last one and add it to this one, and then have all the crap in that relationship and move on to the next one with more crap. And it just turns into, you know, this tree that's super top heavy and super.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Slightest dust comes along, whammo, I'm blown over, and now I'm trying to pick myself back up with all those broken pieces, you know, and without fixing the problems. So, you got anything else to add, John? I do want to get to the love languages, but I know it's about your bedtime, brother.
Well, we're speaking of relationships, and shortly, you know, I actually have to connect on some of my relationships. I have to call a couple of the kids, so I will have to check out here whenever our phone time is up. But yeah, Josh, you know, I think you covered that pretty well. I like the analogy of the tree and the roots, and you know, you. I didn't realize that you had to hang up when I was talking last time. But while you were off, man, I said the most profound stuff I've ever said in forever. So, yeah, you missed it, man. But I think you covered, just kidding. But I think you covered everything pretty doggone well. Like, I really do like that concept of, you know, having, you know, really healthy roots, and, you know, kind of considering those positive values that you can, you know, put in to strengthen, you know, those relationships today. And I think that's actually probably a pretty good segue into, you know, maybe to talk a little bit about those 5 love languages, because those are super powerful, and I know they're, you know, they're just they're not only are they really powerful, but this whole rounding off what our relationships look like. It kind of comes back to empathy and love anyway. So I don't know. Do you want any kind of, I don't know, maybe knock up a couple of those and tell us what it looks like?
Sure. So when we talk about a healthy relationship, we have to, for me, I had to understand these core concepts of who I was, right, and how I react to other people. So, when I ask myself, like, how do I most experience love? And then somebody turned me on to this book by Gary Chapman, The 5 Love Languages, right? Because I had this distorted thought of what love was, what intimacy was, and all those distorted thoughts of what a healthy relationship was. And now that we've covered a lot of those things, when I say self-awareness and understanding self, right? When I was reading this book, I was like, shit, I've been giving others my love language when I figured it out, right? Because there's Chapman's book, it has a premise: when we relate to those we love, we do so using 5 love languages. And I'm like, what the hell is this shit? This is something new. And when he talks about physical touch, words of affirmation, acts of service, quality time, and gift giving to show our love and commitment to others, I was like, my mind's blown, right? When we I do. My ADHD brain overcomplicates things. And when it starts to break this down, right, it was really profound to me to understand, we use words of affirmation now in prison, right? Because when we talk about, like, oh, I was a piece of shit, or this person's a piece of shit, blah, 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 and start talking about people, those are negative thoughts about ourselves, right? So we use positive words to describe our day or others and how that is, right? We use that to build people up. We're not trying to bring people down. So in a relationship, when you use these things, because someone with this primary love language of words of affirmation are quick to point out the good they see in those who they have a relationship with, right? Like, hey, your hair looks good today, or cute outfit, could be you look handsome today. All these things build each other up, and
you have 60 seconds remaining.
When we go through these and we're looking at them, everybody needs all 5 love languages, but one of these will stick out as a primary love language. So, I'll call right back right now. John, are you going to sign off, or you want to pick up for a second so I call back? Or
I'm gonna sign off with you, and
you have 60 seconds remaining.
Okay, I'll call back.
For allowing this to come through tonight. Absolutely. And I want to thank all your listeners too, because this has been really awesome.
Absolutely, and thank you for joining. And we'll do something again soon too. And I will talk to you this weekend.
I hope so.
Okay. Thank you, John.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. And thanks for sharing everything you shared with us, because it means so much.
Thank you. I appreciate you, John.
Appreciate you too. And I want to wish you and everybody out there a good night.
All right, you too. Good night, John. John's pretty amazing. Let's go to casino. I know, Lisa, and I'll let him know. John goes to bed very early. John gets up very early. They're so busy, these guys. So John is going to call tonight. This will probably be Josh's last call. He'll finish up, and then we could always pick this up in another couple weeks. We can do something. I'll talk to John over the weekend. We usually talk over the weekend because that's the only time he has time. Believe it or not, they are so busy. They have jobs. They do these courses. They're so busy in there. People don't believe, they think they don't do any. Some people, you guys understand now, but some people don't realize how busy they really are in prison. Especially these two.
You have a prepaid
they do
call
so many
from
programs.
Josh Burcham.
an incarcerated individual at the RJ Donovan Correctional Facility, San Diego, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored.
So we'll finish up this
You have
segment
a
and we'll be
prepaid
done
call.
with
You will not be
this
charged
one.
for this call. To accept this call, thank you for using Global Tel Link.
All right.
Okay.
I know it's getting late back there, so back east. So I'll wrap this up unless you guys
We'll
talk maybe about what we can pick up on next time, or in a week or two. But these love languages were really profound to me, right? When we start to understand that, I was able to notice this in other people and just being friends, right? Mm-hmm. Because we tend to love others in our love language. And when we think about the, words of affirmations or gifts, acts of service, quality time, and physical touch, we all want those, right? But one is definitely more profound than the other for each individual, and it's so crazy when you can tap into that without them even realizing that you understand that. And this goes back to that healthy relationship, right? Because when two people, when a husband and wife especially can understand each other, you tend to play to that role, right? Not your own. And it builds such a better bond. Even with parents and children, right? Like you may have 2 or 3 children and their love language is different. So when you can be able to service that love language to a specific person, it creates a deeper bond. When somebody likes gifts, it's crazy how small of a gift shows the other person that they were held in thought, right? It doesn't have to be extravagant. You'd be surprised on how much a little Post-it note in a place where your partner will see it just lights up their day, right? Or something small, putting in their lunch, or when they go to get in the car, there's something that fits them, that they don't even realize that you're doing that constantly because you found their love language, Even if you do, you can read the book and figure it out. And even when you know what your partner's love language is, I know that you're playing on that, not playing on it, but you're servicing me that way shows me that you care for me, acts of service, doing any job that the other person would appreciate, maybe cooking, cleaning, yard work, is something that shows that you care, right? And maybe you don't like doing acts of service, so they realize that it's something important to them that you take that time out to do.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
And the fourth one, quality time. Giving undivided attention, no phone, no nothing, just talking, listening. And maybe as simple as having a morning cup of coffee together before you start your day. And that's something you two together, just sit there, read the paper. But it's the time spent together. That's important, right? Physical touch, holding hands, snuggling or hugging. I didn't realize how much physical touch I craved. And my friends tell me, you're always touching me. And my friends tell me this, and it's like, I like that. That's how I like, and I have to realize, like, okay, that's me. That's my way to show my affection, but that's not theirs. And in prison, that's kind of a fine line, because like John was saying, there's places, I mean, we're not in those types of prisons anymore, but you couldn't walk near somebody. You don't walk behind somebody. You definitely don't touch somebody from behind, on the shoulder or anything, because we're in prison. They don't know what I'm touching them for. I could, on a higher level, you don't walk up behind people in prison, because they can turn around and punch you in the face right quickly,
right.
So, all of these things, when we're talking about love language, shows that you pay attention. And it goes into that Venn diagram of importance of self-awareness, not only self-awareness of myself, but of my partner and my friends. When we talk about emotional intelligence, and this is where I have to understand myself in all aspects, but also understanding other people. That's emotional intelligence, and being able to read the room without having to be told is emotional intelligence. What are you going through? Why are you elevating your voice? How come your face is flushed? You know what I'm saying? Because when we think about a lot of people, when we talk about emotional intelligence and self-awareness, we're not really self-aware of ourselves. We had talked about warning signs and triggers before. So that's all goes into those 30 plus things that include in self-awareness. So when we talk about love language, that's really being in tune with those that you care for. And of course, it's a lot of things in prison is misconstrued, because when we're talking about love language, we have this misperception about the word love and what that means, you know. So we try to break down these barriers and bring down some walls and create a safe space for individuals to be vulnerable, to have these healthy relationships and conversations, not only with their family, but with their girlfriends and wives in prison, right? And it's just so beautiful to teach these things, offer these things to other individuals, and then have them come back and say, you know, I tried this with my wife or my girlfriend, and this was the outcome, and it was weird. I thought she was going to be upset or mad, but being assertive is part of being in a healthy relationship. I need to express to you my needs, because if my needs aren't met, I feel a certain type of way, which creates conflict, which now we have an unhealthy relationship, which leads to dysfunction and potentially could lead to harm, right? So that's where all this comes in. And if you haven't, you guys can look online for the 5 love languages and read about it. And it really, really opened my eyes to how to treat others once you get to really know somebody, and to watch people's face light up and in their love language, right? And sometimes they don't even realize what's going on in prison, that I can see or read their love language, because you can tell just in your normal daily interactions with people what their love language is, even their attachment styles, their personality traits, and the things. You can see trauma and a lot of these things when you educate yourself on what this stuff is. So that's kind of wraps it up for tonight. Right. I do ask this question. I appreciate everybody listening and being so involved in the comments. You know, we like that. I've said this before. This is something different, because usually we're used to looking at people in the face, looking in their eyeballs, seeing their brains working, you know, trying to process, because it's a lot of information. And when it's new information, you know, we don't retain a lot. So we're trying to, you know, get this mental picture of our life and how to make things better. So that's the question I have. What are some of the discussions you would like us to cover moving forward? You know, we do have effective listening and communication that we do. Also, what is domestic violence? We also have like understanding self, as far as like anger management and stuff like that when it comes into substance abuse. And anger management and domestic violence ties into an unhealthy and healthy relationship, right? So we also teach emotional intelligence, you know, what that is, what does that look like, how is it, what are we learning about? Because emotional intelligence isn't a whole lot about IQ necessarily, right? And this is why I love John, and John accents me, because I'm more of a nuts and bolts kind of guy. I need the bare bones basics, you know what I mean? I just need a bike with 2 wheels and pedals. He's got all the bells and whistles, because he understands and can give a little bit more, if you will, clinical and in-depth stuff. So
I have
talk about these things.
I love when you do these lives. I know these lives are amazing, Thank you both again. Great discussion. And Lauren also said that we've taken these tests and it helps so much when you were talking about the love languages. And happy birthday again, Josh. Yeah. Lauren said happy birthday again.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh, and happy birthday, Josh. Very informative. You're getting very informative. So if everybody wants to let me know, we could talk about it between, tomorrow and Monday. Yeah. We could let them know what you want to hear more of. And thank you. Thank you. Very informative. I'm getting so much positivity. I told you this, Josh. They really appreciate these talks. They really like them. I didn't know this was going to go over this big, Josh, but it really is.
Wow, and it's absolutely amazing, and it really just touches my heart.
Yeah.
That, we can reach out and share what we've learned. Like I said before, I had poor role models as far as what a healthy lifestyle was. So learning this in prison, at the age of 40, I started to learn these things. So I'm like a little kid in a candy store. The more I learn, the more I want to share with other people because I'm free. I may be in prison and I have a life sentence, but I am spiritually free. I don't hold any resentments. I've been able to forgive myself, forgive those who harm me, and move on into a better place by understanding these things. And if we had these things as children, God, where would we be at today? But things happen for a reason, and I'm thankful that I've been able to use my carceral state for a positive thing and become a better person, right? Completely in all aspects of my life. I've been able to, free myself from the addictive lifestyle, from criminality, from drugs, from violence, from all of it, right? And address the issues that have brought me to prison. But now I love sharing what I know because I love looking out into the class as I'm asking questions or giving some material to them, and they have the questions, and to see their minds. And Lauren, I think you can relate as a teacher, right? As they start to learn and grasp this, and they become hungry for more. It's an awesome
Katie's the teacher. Katie's the teacher.
Oh, Katie's the teacher. Okay.
Yeah, and Katie's here.
So Katie, you see that, and when I saw that, and I can help foster that goodness in people, because people are born inherently good. We're all good people. We learn bad behaviors, right? Yeah. So
I have some comment, and usually I always give Josh feedback. So Lauren's a teacher to her children. Absolutely. Lauren has 4 children, by the way. Oh Lord, I'm not a teacher. That would be scary, Lauren says. Lisa says both are very informative and well spoken. Absolutely. Very positive and helpful to all of us. These are comments we're getting.
Wonderful.
Yes, I love them.
Thank you.
Awesome, Josh. Thank you. You're very informative. See, this is all. Yes, thank you very much. This is the feedback I get, Josh. Usually we talk afterwards and I tell them what everyone's saying. I'm reading it right off the chat. But yeah, absolutely.
Oh. Okay. Well, those are some of the topics that, we could talk about all kinds of things, so if there's something, we'll talk over the weekend, Marge, and let me know, and we can continue this on whenever is good for you guys.
Yeah.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Absolutely, Josh.
I know it's getting late. I want to say thank you to everybody. It is absolutely an honor to be able to have this time and share this safe space with you guys and talk about these things and create meaning, behind it all. That's it, And Marge, thank you for sharing your stories openly and honestly. I know they're tough, and that's the safe space to be vulnerable in.
Yeah.
So good night, everybody. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And you guys have a good weekend. And I'll talk to you later, Mark.
Good night, Josh. I'll talk to you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good night.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
Good night.
This couple.
He's amazing. That was really good. And we could pick a topic or a couple topics. I could just put them out there with him and see what we want to do. We don't have to do it next week. We could skip a week if you guys want. We do have Brian tomorrow night, which is, I can't wait to do Brian again. I can't wait for Brian's story tomorrow night with his family. We do have an Navy vet. I keep saying Army. I don't know why. A Navy vet that's going to be joining us tomorrow night, along with Keith. Keith will be back tomorrow night. He just lets Josh and John do this. So Keith will be joining us tomorrow night. So we're going to say goodnight here. For those of you who go over to Favorite It, let's say goodnight over there. We'll jump on Favorite It for a few minutes, and then I will say goodnight. Oh, thank you, Georgia. So I appreciate everyone for joining. It was a great live. We're going to jump over to Favorite It for a few minutes and end the night there. And for everyone else, we'll be back tomorrow at 2:30. And then, of course, tomorrow night with Brian, we'll be talking about his case again. And he's going to give us a recap of everything he spoke about last night, along with Javier will be joining us and Keith. So we'll see everyone tomorrow. Everyone, good night. Again, thank you so much for joining. Let's go over to Favorite It real quick and we'll end it there. Good night.